Friday, so we want to talk about, I'd like to talk about to the committee chairs, putting some plans together for this year for membership drives, for membership onboarding and mentoring, for our social media program. So I'd like to ask the chairs to put some plans together for the coming year, so we can kind of formalize some of the things that we had started, but really kind of get the pen to paper and make them.
So you
plan to get things done. Yeah.
So you got a lot going on.
Yeah, a little bit. Yeah. Not overwhelming though, I don't feel.
Well, that's good, because that leads kind of part of to the next piece.
I have great support from my past president, right?
Yeah. And that's part of continuity. Item number 2 here is kind of like planning for that happy retirement. How do you get moving on? Or more importantly, how do we keep growing our clubs, and who comes next? Yeah, you're here today, but the king is dead soon, right? And then long live the king. That's part of the exciting thing. And I just wanted to make sure that you feel like the PEPS training that you had was effective, was helpful. We'll have a couple of discussions a little later on about how maybe we could make it better for the next round of folks. So those would be some little pieces to feedback.
I think in general it was effective. It's kind of good to know the lay of the land. Sometimes I think the clubs, we get a little isolated with what we're doing, and maybe sometimes don't look at the bigger picture.
Yeah. It was one of the
grant process, for instance. That's good to know about that. We have Matt on our team, so that helps a lot in terms of the grant process. But it's good to know how that works and what the qualifications are in the process.
Okay. I wanted to just mention some of the stuff here. Been a little embarrassed that the dyslexic thing is becoming a little bit more real here. I don't really have a problem, but I'm getting some floaters in my eyes that make it tough for me to read, and I'm relying upon the spell checkers, the grammar checkers, and they're catching me a little bit. So apologize. Please point out if I'm making any major faux pas. The other thing is part of that, I'm recording today's session to help me with my notes afterwards, so if I can't read my scribbles, I hope anybody has any problems with that. I'm not going to hold anybody accountable. But just some things going forward.
What not to say.
Yeah, right.
Yeah, it's.
Who not to talk about?
It sucks getting old, But just one of these things. My mom said, "Oh yeah, wait till you get the floaters, big time for real." Well, it's happening. So, but good. I'm glad that. Oh, here we go. Here is Mike. Yes. Okay. You found us.
Hi, Mike. Yeah, we were walking around the place for a while.
Uh-oh.
I'm sorry, we're not even really open.
Goodness.
I should
There
have
we go.
Here
comes the
Hey.
Here's
Don't want to
everybody.
star in.
All right.
Okay.
This is my daughter, Nicole Falk Tackett, and she's from the Delaware Rotary,
Really?
Delaware, Ohio.
Okay.
Oh, great.
Well,
So
welcome.
she's
I guess we might as
auditing
well.
the cluster meeting here.
No, I'm not. Are you an auditor? That's not what you're
She's
saying.
an auditor
I
too.
Oh, great.
And welcome, Diana. Got a couple. We got one more copy of the agenda, so pass that one down to Mike.
I have one.
Yes.
Oh, you do? Okay.
Here,
Printed some good things off. Glad you found us. We probably should talk about, if we're going to stay here, I'll make up some signs to say go this way or that way to help a little bit, but glad you found the room we're in. Yeah, just quickly, in case anybody doesn't recognize, we have a special drop-in. John Rice is our district governor-elect, so next year he'll be working with our president-elects, and it's good to see, again, Chris, you mentioned Mosur. I know, Diana, you mentioned it's Josh is your president-elect, right?
Josh Hayes, right?
Yes. So giving them the opportunity to participate in some of these things and get a little feet on the ground, I had asked Chris, so how's your first month gone? And Diana, I'll ask you the same question. You didn't get to hear his response, but
I didn't. Can you paraphrase real quick?
he says, okay, we're busy, but yeah, I'm okay. And part of that is thinking about president-elect training, especially for the new folks coming up on the bottom, a couple of key dates for them. Did the president-elect training help support you get ready for this?
Oh, absolutely. Because of all the good guidance we got from the group at those meetings, and the materials that they gave us were extremely helpful. Plus, people like yourself and my former, our past president, John Graves, have been extremely helpful. As you know, I've had many questions, especially when it came to the grants, putting in our grant request, navigating the website. So it was as smooth a transition as I could have hoped for. Now, having said that, our club wasn't that busy over the summer. You know, we went down to 2 luncheons a month and a social, and that's a departure down by 1 meeting a month. And our club is made up of a lot of individuals who are from the school system. Our superintendent is in our club, along with the principals, and they take the summer off naturally, so we don't kick it up at all during the summer. Now we're gonna be kicking things up here as soon as the school season starts again.
Okay.
So we'll get busy.
Get into
Got a
some of
couple
that.
things on our agenda.
Yeah,
So
I know.
how many are attending your meeting every week?
Oh, approximately 12 to 15, I would say, during the summer. Attendance grows during the academic year because we devote one whole meeting to Student of the Month. So the principals bring the students in and invite their parents also, because they're being recognized and given an award. And then our speaker series starts up again in September, so that increases our
Okay.
attendance.
I don't think you should feel bad about only having a couple of meetings during the summer. Twinsburg has had no meetings
Oh, really? Okay.
in July.
Mhm.
They have been extra busy though. Cindy, would you like to talk about a couple things? I mean, July was crazy, and then August you also had one of your big events.
So far, we're getting ready to go on vacation, because so far we've done Parade of Flags. We did a kayaking project for 3 Sundays in July, which were work efforts, so that took place of our meetings. We had Twins Days hot dog, where we cooked and served about 3,000 hot dogs to the incoming twins, and then the beer garden. And then we just did National Night Out. So that's been for the last 5 weeks is what we've done so far.
Cindy, having lived in Twinsburg for 10 years, I finally shot up to a Twins
I
Day.
know,
on
and you didn't, oh, you
Yeah.
went to Twins Days?
I went to.
You
yeah,
went kayaking too.
I went kayaking.
You didn't
as
shoot
well.
past us and go to Glen Willow, so yay.
Yeah, I didn't see where the beer truck was at. I saw all kinds of stuff going on
Oh,
at
all the
Twins
way up
Day.
at the top, past the crafts. You know where the
Okay.
food was?
Uh-huh.
We're up on the hill overlooking the food. So,
So
and I would've got rid of the last 3 kegs if you.
Oh, at least 3. How many kegs you go through?
23 kegs.
Oh, wow.
And about 20 cases of limeritas and that kind of stuff.
Wow.
Yeah, we were gone with that by like 3 o'clock Saturday on the canned stuff.
Those twins can drink.
Yeah.
23 kegs a good number? Is that?
Yeah.
Well, we used to do 35. Our problem is the Twins' base of operations changed to the Bertram, and they throw a party on Saturday evening, so they basically suck a lot of the drinking age twins out of
Oh, the Aurora
event,
location,
yeah.
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 so.
So
I thought maybe
But-
you're just cutting back.
that's right.
Yeah.
No, it is fun to mix it up to see everybody. And again, I was surprised to see you on the kayak festival when I showed up to help induct the Twinsburg officers. Again, a little fun thing. I went to volunteer on the Twinsburg festival too. It's one of just those fun things, and we got to help prepare some of those 3,000 hot dogs. And then sell tickets out front for the Twins got a hot dog meal as part of their registration, but anybody else needed to buy some tickets, so got to interact with them, and it was really fun and crazy, and it was a good time. So doing good things in the community, and I want to find out how I can help. Just stick my toe in some other projects. I know I want to participate a little bit more. I drove past the rib cook-off last year, but I want to see more how that works. With that, I think last time we had talked about, again, sharing information about the way that Chagrin Highlands helps do some of the pancake breakfast with our fundraising, and we have these placemats. So this is really where most of our fundraising money comes from. So this is a small example of something else that, if it would be appropriate for one of the events you run, you might think about implementing something like this. So,
We do the same thing at the Bedford Rotary, except we gotta reinvent the pricing on this, because we charge $40 to put the name on, and we charge, what, $100?
yeah, we try to get 100. Sometimes we'll end up, all 75, that's fine. The doubles, we try to get 154. And then we go for a couple of primary sponsors above that, 1,000, 2,500. Haven't had anybody bite for the $5,000 yet, but we're hopeful. So again, it's the pancakes are incidental. The just helping to grow the community, communicate with the community, and share what businesses there are is a big part of it. So.
I had a set of twins approach me at the beer garden and wanted to talk about sponsoring the beer garden, paying us money to sponsor the
Yeah, get
beer
their name out
garden.
there.
So
Yeah,
there's all kind of other opportunities. Where I work, we used to run a reverse raffle, and I sold sponsorships for the sideboards and picked up $1,000 for the main board and $500 for the sideboards, and it was just extra cash in pocket.
Yeah. So money's laying there. We just have to know to ask for it or get creative in ways to help share that stuff. So, did want to highlight a couple of quick things, and then we'll get back down to just general sharing. The district governor's visit. Last year, District Governor Amy did things a little differently, but we're going to go back to kind of more of a formal exchange with Bev when she does her visits. She basically is the program on those visitation dates, and she would like to meet either before or after. You can help tell her with some of the board. Again, she wants to just get a feel for and give a chance for the members to ask questions. Gee, what is this district? What do you do for us? Why do you just, take money and not show up? But she's interested in trying to help identify and encourage things like, what do you do to have fun? She's asked before, can you help identify within your club an unsung hero, so she can do a little call out to help recognize them? Have you all sent in your unsung hero nominations?
I ordered ours.
She's
Okay.
big, yeah, excuse me, Bruce, she's big on that, and she's gotten me to agree to do it again next year. So when you start lining up your unsung heroes, line up 2, because I'm gonna need 1 a year from now.
Assuming that with Rotary's changeover, they'll still be here by then, right?
Well, let's be optimistic, yeah, we'll still.
Yeah. So, again, it's gonna be just a much more of a give and take on a flow level. I think it also should be a good visit. Mike, we don't yet have a date from Rick. If you can work with him, please, to try to get a date there.
Just to keep it simple, any Tuesday she wants to come out, be fine.
So we'll
You
look
want
at.
to pick up a specific date, that's fine too.
I'll see if she's got a couple. I know for the next couple of months her schedule is like totally booked, as you might expect. But she would like to try to get these visits in the first half of this year, so that if there's any kind of tweaks, any suggestions, because just like you, she's got 1 year, and then John's going to be nudging her to the side. So she wants to try to have an impact.
No, you don't nudge the governor aside.
Well, again, the Queen is dead. Come next July, long live the King. So it's the same thing. That's one of the joys and the pleasures, that being president is only 1 year, and it's also, it's only a year. Wow. So
A couple quick comments on the governor's visit. Bruce is dead on. Bev has been out and made now roughly 40 visits to clubs, but only 5 of those have been her official visits. The rest have been installations and things like that. She must have installed a third of the officers in the district. So if you can pick a day, and then and I'm learning here, I'm watching this. I've seen her calendar looks like a chicken got loose and ran all over a piece of paper, because folks keep changing the dates on her. a club will say, hey, come out on this date, and then 2 weeks later say, hey, we got a great speaker that day, can you come over here? If you can avoid that, she won't complain, it's not in her nature, but you can really help her out if you pick a good date and then stick with it, for whatever that's worth.
Yeah.
Sorry, Bruce.
And just like last year, I'll try to be there on those dates because it gives me a chance to learn as well what some of her goals and visions are, and just help provide some of the introductions. You know, if a good adjutant knows many of the club members, and I'm getting there. The other thing, I think Mike, Diane, and Nicole, you'd missed one of the things that I apologize for here is as I'm getting older, I'm getting floaters in my eyes, and I've been complaining about my spell checker tools that sometimes it's tough proofreading your own work. Well, it's even tougher with this, and like for Twinsburg, I had written October 13th. I know, Diana, you've got a couple of little typos for me, but I appreciate it. Please point them out, and I'm only human, so, but yeah, the sharing opportunities to, as you say, Mike, show up at the kayaking or the Twinsburg Festival. Those are just chances to get to know that you are really part of a worldwide organization. John was just sharing he's going to try to go to Nigeria come next spring to follow up on one of their projects. January, okay. See, there's the dyslexia again.
And Bruce, our date did change.
It did change.
Remember those clubs had to change.
Okay.
District governor, it's not September 21, it's October 16.
I've actually got you down as November 13th.
Oh, you do? Oh, I thought that was, yeah.
This is where my punctuation may not be as clear.
Oh, I know, done, yeah.
So,
October 16th.
October 16th, not November 13th.
Correct.
Okay.
October 16th?
Yes, that, Tuesday.
Hey, Bruce,
During the
Yes, Mike.
election?
I have our meeting on October 9th.
Wait a second.
I don't think it is.
Wait, you're right.
I'm sorry, October 9th?
Yeah, if we want to pencil in Bev coming out on October 9th.
I will check with her on that one.
And do you want me to send an email to you and her?
Sure, that would
Okay.
help close the loop.
Yeah, but she sends her apologies. She's actually at a funeral this morning, or she would be here.
Again, this is where all the exciting stuff is of just getting to know that there's more than just the same 15 or 20 people for lunches every day, or, excuse me, for breakfasts every week.
I stand corrected. It is November 13th.
Okay.
I'm sorry.
Okay,
It was the October 16th. We switched it to November 13th, so you have it correct.
okay, good. And
So when
Thanks,
is
John.
Twinsburg supposed to be?
October 31st,
31st.
yes.
Halloween visit.
Yes, and
We might have the
we
mandatory costumes.
yes, well, Bev and I may come as twins then. How's that?
You know, then I'll be there. I want to see that.
There will be no pictures taken that day. Oh, fun stuff. Anyways, we're talking about those projects here. Obviously, one of the things with projects with publications, it's exciting to try to help grow new members and get more people involved, because obviously with more people we can do more projects and have more fun, but membership is always a cornerstone of how do we grow our clubs and our involvement, and that's perhaps more critical this year than it has been in the past as we're going. I think, Cindy, do you know what your trend has been? You got a couple of new members, I know.
We
But
have
are you
two
net
more
positive?
getting ready to be
Okay.
inducted, and that'll make us positive. We have our senior table. We have 4 80-year-olds.
Hmm.
But, you know, they do what they can do. One of them, he sat security on the gate for me just to make sure nobody walked out with beer. So, you know, he can't stand there for 4 hours, but he can certainly sit and, hey, you can't take that out of here. So they are contributing members. You just find what they can do, and it's perfect. But we've been picking up some younger members, and when I joined 30 years ago, we were very much a physical club, and then we turned into a checkbook club, and we're going obviously back to more of a physical, hands-on again, which is awesome.
Okay. Diana, how are you doing membership-wise?
Well, we have good turnout, I think, with our group so far. We had several new members under John's leadership. My plan is to ask our Friends of Rotary to join. And our biggest project we're undertaking this year is the SOAP project, the SOAP training project for human trafficking. So on August 29th, John has graciously arranged for us to have SOAP training at the Girl Scouts where he is employed.
And
At
for those
5:30 to
for those of
6:30.
us who don't know what SOAP is,
SOAP is
sanitation.
Human trafficking.
It's
It's a
it's,
different one. Okay.
It is an acronym.
Opposing,
Stop. It's
something opposing adolescents in
prostitution.
prostitution.
Yes.
So, yeah, sorry, go ahead.
No, that's it. And then what that training is going to help us do is learn how to wrap bars of soap with the human trafficking hotline and distribute them in area hotels. I wanted to mention that today to this group for a couple of reasons. We have identified about 3 or 4 hotels in our under the jurisdiction of our club in Nordonia Hills. But if there are hotels in the cluster's jurisdiction that you would like us to be involved in, then send us that information, because so far we have at least 6, it might be 7 Friends of Rotary who are going to show up at that training, and then we've invited our club as well to get the training, and hopefully through that process we want to not just start distributing soap in hotels, but we want to invite our hotels to become the managers of these hotels to become members, and we want to invite our Friends of Rotaries to become members.
Diane, who are your friends? I'm not familiar.
Oh, Friends of Rotary are the people that we have obtained their email addresses from them, and we put them in Club Runner under Friends of Rotary. So they get our emails and our invites, and I know I communicate with them that way, but they're not members.
Right. Have you done anything like maybe an article for the district newsletter with that?
I asked them to put in a squib that we're having this training in this just last one.
No,
Do you want something
I'm
more?
sorry, I said that
Okay.
badly. That's a nice idea, and that could well lead to members. It gets our message beyond just the Rotary community.
Okay.
I think that's all great, really great stuff, and it might be helpful. You could educate some other clubs that this is, I don't know whether you call it a program or whatever label you put on it, but if you were to write a short article
Okay.
about what you
Sure.
do and how it works. I know this guy shows up and then gives me more work. I apologize for that, but I think you've got something that's it's worthwhile there.
Okay.
Maybe others are doing it in the district, but this is the first I've heard of it.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
So we solicited
Glenn, can
those
you turn
members.
the music down in here? Is there?
It's actually, I'm turning it down right now. I'm trying to-
Okay.
So we were at the Chamber of Commerce, and Diana signed up people who visited our booth at the Chamber of Commerce event. And then at our Teresa Flores event, we'd publicized we got about 200 people to come when she talked about prostitution, and we asked people to sign up to volunteer for anti-prostitution, anti-human trafficking, not anti-prostitution, anti-human trafficking efforts. And so we got more people, and so now they're in Club Runner, and
Yeah, and that forum that we put together at the high school in Nordonia was in February, and those people have been kind of hanging with us, waiting for us to say we're ready to start the SOAP training project. So then when we had that scheduled, and John got the trainer to come down here from Cleveland.
And she spoke at the district conference.
Right.
So we were trying to figure out how to get Teresa Flores to give us training, but thank goodness the district conference had the person, I can't remember her name now, but she's at a Catholic church, and that's her ministry, and she has set up routes, and so and they have staff that's been doing these routes. We're going to take over those. She's going to train us how to take over those routes with volunteers, and so we can expand this whole thing. So if other people want to do this, and there be routes in your club's areas, and what you do is you put in a bar of soap, you give them soap that it reduces the cost of the hotel. We don't have to buy soap anymore. But then on the soap is an 800 number that people can call to get out of human trafficking. And and apparently it works. You think, well, it wouldn't work because the Johns would take all the soap out of the room, but it does work. and they you know, they are using these phone numbers from time to time, and it takes several touches to get them to, obviously, you know, it's very complicated, but this is just one thing to do. And so it's great that Diana's doing this. This is, you know, we've been doing different initiatives against human trafficking after the convention in Atlanta is where we really got started. And Diana had gotten a speaker really right before then, Janet Pisa, from Summit County Victims Assistance, that also got started. So
that's the second article as this thing comes on board. Oh, great.
And that's gonna take place where?
At the Girl Scouts of Northeast Ohio, on one
Yeah.
Girl Scout Way.
Yeah, at 5:30 p.m. That's, yeah, just walk in and we'll have signage there to lead you to the training.
It should take about an hour, is that what
Yeah,
she said?
yeah, about an hour.
August 29th.
And that's in Macedonia, right?
Right.
Yeah.
We
used to be
you go to
Norandex.
Bedford, you turn south
Used to
on
be
Bedford.
Norandex.
Yeah,
Yes.
Norandex, yeah.
Okay. Well, you've actually given me a great opening to skip ahead a little bit here.
Okay.
Yesterday, our club, again, a little chance meeting, how do these things happen? My sister-in-law actually was standing in line at Subway or something and overheard two guys talking about veterans programs at Working on Home. She says, "My brother-in-law's a veteran, you know, and he's in Rotary. Would you guys like to talk about Rotary to, you know, expose what your program is?" And I have a couple of flyers here. This could be a very interesting program that you guys might want to learn about. There's many, many ways to help veterans. Twinsburg goes crazy with helping out veterans with Parade of Flags and stuff. These guys, as it came out, yeah, everybody's looking for money, but that's the least part of their problem. They're trying to help identify veterans, senior veterans in need to help stay in their home. They have relationships with Home Depot. They get materials like either donated or for next to nothing. They have contractors who come in and actually do the work, but they just want to help identify these things. And within your own club and community, if you can share this with other people, identifying some veterans, it could be a great way to add a little, you know, bang for your buck in your community, saying, gee, this is one of the things we do locally is we work with these guys. One of their second in commands is also a judge downtown working with the Veterans Court, which you may know about, some of the special courts downtown. And it's another thing that is available within their communities. Again, as part of, these guys are multidimensional, they're not just about home repair. They also would welcome the opportunity to interact with businesses, either for some job employment skill training, ways to get that we can help folks within our community. It doesn't take a lot of hands-on, but it's a way to leverage our club's activities and efforts that might be something that could fit in. So, great speaker program. Everybody in our club was kind of floored with it, and just throw that out. Also, this is something that networking came up with. I know many clubs do food pantries. And a slight twist on that, my wife had gotten through one of her networks, the principal at one of the Becksville middle schools are saying, gee, some of the kids, the only meals they get are at school. And weekends, or particularly during the summer, they go hungry. It might be a slight twist to work with the schools and say, yeah, we've got the food program, the food pantry, but we're going to now add to an opportunity to help send the kids home with some meals. So if you'd like to think about that, these could be individual club projects, or we could talk about them as perhaps as a cluster project, again, whether it's the veterans or those the food pantry type things. But sometimes we're stuck in a rut doing the same old thing, and what do we do different? Those are a couple of things that have come across my horizon I'd just like to share with you. Okay? So let's get back to membership. Mike, how is...
We're down significantly in Bedford, and any activities, we're trying to do more to support growth, but we're down to 23 members, so it's the lowest I've seen it. I had brought in 2 members and both kind of left for different reasons and stuff like that, but we're gonna try some engagement things. We're gonna do something this fall that's different, and we're doing where we're gonna give out a couple $1,000 checks to Meals on Wheels and some of the donations that we do, and we're gonna bring the people that, you know, give us $1,000 or $2,500 to, and we're gonna have a thank you to cocktail hour with the people that are supporting us, and let them see us giving out checks with the money they're giving us, and we're hoping to bring in new members through this. But we're always looking for ways to come up with additional members. My daughter here, you know, what we want to do is we want to get millenniums in there, and it seems like our average age is probably close to 60. And right now, we have our 80-year-olds, Korean veterans and that type of stuff that are going to the hospital and not coming back. So I don't know.
Do you have a Facebook account?
Yes.
Okay. Because as much as you can post to that, like we had some volunteers for the hot dog dinner, 2 sisters, and they're very interested in Rotary. We roped her husband into pouring beer, and I don't know if it's because he was interested in Rotary or my rule that you drink your mistakes, so.
We always have people volunteering to pour the beer at the Rib Fest and stuff like that, but showing up for the weekly meetings is a different animal.
Yeah.
Have you tried not requiring them to attend a weekly meeting, an alternate event, something like that? Some clubs have, they've had success, others it's caused them problems. I didn't know whether you tried it or not.
I've mentioned bringing up having, instead of the weekly meetings, which we've had forever, is going to every other week or something like that. I also tell people that you know, they could just volunteer at some of the events and not be a regular member and all that type of stuff.
Because under the new, you know, the evolving Rotary structure, you've got a ton of flexibility there in terms of what you actually do. Some of the feedback on that is, well, that dilutes Rotary and so forth, but you know how that is.
I'm very flexible on membership. So the 2 people that I brought in last year, and then all of a sudden their events change in their lives, they're saying they'll still volunteer and come to and work the pancake breakfast, stuff like that, but they just can't make the weekly meetings. Or,
you know what? Tell them, why don't you stay members and just show up for the pancake breakfast? I could toss a little bit broader perspective on this, and this would be, Bev would be making this part of the presentation if she were here. Membership, we've all heard about it, right? Members. Well, one thing to keep in mind, if your district gets down to less than 1,800 members, RI forces you to merge. We're at a bit over 1,900, and in the last 2 years we've lost over 100. So you do that, you keep that trend going, it won't be more than 2 or 3 years, and people will be trying to force us to merge somewhere. So that's an incentive. Bev has already held a membership brainstorming session about 2 weeks ago that was well attended. That's probably going to be a multi-district project. There's Rotary money, international money available for that. What district are you in? I'm sorry, that put you on the spot. You're
Delaware, Ohio,
Delaware.
Columbus.
Okay, because the district immediately south of us is participating, and there's a third, and I'm not sure which one it is. But in any event, it's a priority for her. I think it's probably a priority for all of us. And I'm sure she'll be reaching out for assistance on that as it develops. There's a meeting of the 3 districts that are going to be involved coming up in the next 10 days. Yeah, do whatever you can.
What's the status on corporate members?
You know, I'm not an expert on that, but I believe that can be done.
We do a corporate membership.
Yeah. If you send me an email, I promise you I don't know everything. All right, I may be a lawyer, but I actually don't know everything. But if you'll send me an email, I'll follow up and get you some information on it.
And if you don't have John's email address, it's on the back end of the distribution list, or again, he's passed out some cards. That
I don't think the last folks in got a chance
Yeah.
to get a card.
if you don't want to be dyslexic typing in his name and get it returned to you, you can just copy and paste off of the email. So,
And if you have information or thoughts on things you're doing down in Delaware, I'd invite you to send me an email.
Well, I know we have about 80 to 90 members. And
That's a-
it's pretty active.
that's a
and
good
pretty
sized
active,
club,
Yeah.
yeah.
And then we get a lot, and then we have a lot of range of age too. There's people, the millennials, and then there's gender.
You know, membership, I think, ought to be age neutral, all right? If you can find somebody who's like me, 65 or 66, who's getting ready to and in the process of retiring, my time's now soaked up. When you get in the district governor chain, you don't have any free time. I'm working longer hours now than when I was getting paid. But folks like that can help. And then, then if you can get millennials, or if you can find a Rotaract club where you can maybe transition people and on and on and on, if you've got a nice, because that was the Akron Club's problem when I was president in 05 and 06. The average age was probably about 68. And we were same kind of thing. People go to the hospital, or they, nursing home, or move to Florida. Well, now we've got a real nice range of ages. And one way we did that was by getting the youngest members of the club to be president. And we had a lot of energetic people, and they went out looking for their friends to join. And suddenly our average age has probably dropped about 15 years. Actually, that's a misstatement. That took about 6 years. That did not happen overnight. But any information or thoughts, please send them to me.
yeah, the opportunity to share, and what worked for you in Delaware may not work in Twinsburg. It may not work in Nordonia Hills, but it may. And again, we just can't think of all possibilities at times. So, good stuff. I know, Chris, you guys have been going like crazy since your inception. What's your membership trend like these days?
Well, actually, we fell off probably 4 members over the past couple months. So when we sent out the invoices for the renewals, we had 4 people come back saying, sorry, things have changed, too busy, et cetera, et cetera. So for a variety of reasons, we're at probably 17, 18 members now. So we actually dropped, I'd say 4 or 5
We're at
members.
$750, and that includes all the meetings and everything. That's our dues. I don't know where everybody stands for dues for the year. Is that regular? Is that high? Is that low?
That seems high. Let me see. We go with 90 times 3, 270 for food, plus we do a little cheaper. I think it's $60 in the summer months, so that's $330, and then a $150 is a due, so we go $480. Now, at Delaware, your dues seem real expensive. What were you guys paying?
I think I pay about $1,000 to $1,200 a year.
So yeah, that's quite a range, yeah.
That's like the Cleveland Club.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
So we're
kind of right in the middle.
What?
We're
Yeah, that
$480.
includes meals.
Yeah,
Yeah,
it's
so
also-
ours includes all breakfasts, includes a dinner each quarter.
For the record, I don't know how to
Happy
make coffee, so I'm putting out real good coffee. The other stuff is like mud, so sorry about that. Thank you, Anthony.
Yeah, it woke everyone up then. Yeah, that first pot.
That's
I'm
right.
like drinking it.
So I'm hoping it's not due to the fact that I just became president that we lost these people. So we need to do something to get that trend reversing. I'm hoping that the run that we're doing in September, it's going to be a pretty broad range environment. Really, hopefully, get a lot of community involvement. We're having it starting at the rec center. One of the organizations that we're partnering with and supporting, True Freedom Ministries in Cleveland, they sent out our flyer to 750 or so of their donor and sponsors list. So we're hoping to get a lot of real nice publicity from this event, and hopefully get community members joining the club as a result. So
When is it run?
September 22nd. I'll send everyone a flyer.
Yeah.
Okay.
So you
I
have.
can run off flyers too if you want.
Oh yeah, we can print them out also.
Yeah. I mean, Rotary, as I understand it, and I've been to around the world with clubs, and especially Orlando was amazing, is to, it's first is service above self, but it's also a networking opportunity that's good for your business. And what I see as a problem is that we keep getting to a certain level, but we don't have enough enough, it's not good enough for the people's business to stay in it. It's like if we would, as maybe as a cluster, if we would start to say, all right, here's the people's businesses, maybe we have some sort of referral program as a cluster that gets people in there, and then you give them a reason that, oh my gosh, I got this client out of Rotary, now it gives me a reason to be a Rotarian for life, and then they get cemented in. But that's what I see as a fundamental problem, is that we get to 18, 21, 22 people, but the valet guy that came in there to get some new clients in his valet business, he comes and he goes. The realtors come and they go. There's just not enough people to propagate. Because you do business with people you trust, and you trust Rotarians. And that's the idea, right?
And really, other than yourself and maybe a couple other people, most of us are corporate folks. So, I didn't really join the club to advance my corporation's business. I mean, it's a nice benefit. But, to your point, Glenn, I think what's happening is, like, some of the people, like, not to single out Naresh, but, I think he joined to help grow his business, and he didn't get a lot of return on his investment, so he dropped out. Naresh.
Oh, yeah.
So he wasn't getting return on his investment, so he dropped out. So he wasn't really joining to participate in the service above self. He was participating to advance his business, and that's okay. I mean, that's okay as a motivation. But if we can't provide him the ROI, he's just going to.
In Orlando, if you go to Orlando meeting in there, it is the power group that runs and owns Orlando, and you're in Orlando Rotary. And when you get in Orlando Rotary, everybody's there. All the former mayors. There's a former governor. I mean, they have Mickey Mouse ears on their pins. Yeah. I mean, it's really out of control. It's
how many members
people there? I'd say 80, 90 members, and it's exclusive. They don't take everybody.
It's kind of how Rotary was originally.
Exactly.
You had to be the executive, the owner. You weren't I'm the manager of a real estate company. I would never have been able to join.
They only take one realtor, one lawyer, one insurance broker. That was the old way, right?
Yeah, that's the original classification system. When Rotary started, it did not start out as a service club. When Rotary One was founded in Chicago, the way it worked is you had to agree to give. I'm a lawyer. You're a doctor. You need a lawyer. You're hiring me. I need a doctor. I'm taking all my business to you, and you would report that every week. And if you went 3 weeks without giving your fellow Rotary business, you were at risk of being thrown out, and they'd bring in somebody else who would. I mean,
that sounds a little extreme. Well, I'd love to see somebody get more business out of it. If they join, if people wait to propagate their business, I think that propagates the club, that propagates. Then we create more do-gooders, like we all are.
Right. Again, Rotary isn't touted as like a BNI, a business networking, but a lot of business flows from it. It's a secondary benefit.
Strongsville works that way.
Yeah.
And a lot of leadership opportunities and skills, if you're a younger member, can flow from it too.
Yeah. But Glenn, one of the things as far as helping businesses goes, these days you see almost all over the news how it's the economy's booming, it's tough finding employees, and this is kind of like a backdoor into this program with the vets, and that they're looking to say, gee, we've got some talented people, they've got motivation. Some of them, like many people in the workforce, they may have a couple of issues, but typically through the Purple Heart Veteran, they peer team with each other. So if you wanted to hire somebody that way, again, that's an indirect way to help a business because you need staff. But that's another way that we could start sharing this. It would be great if it could be cluster wide. It would be great to make that kind of recognition about just how we work together a little more clear. So
some businesses don't travel, like mine's location based, but my business has done probably the best, benefited the most from Soul and Rotary of anyone in their group, I think, because it pulls everybody in. I get the guy's mom, the guy's wife's the head of the PTA. All of a sudden, I got the PTA fundraiser, blah blah blah. And it's not like an amazing amount of business, but it's business.
Yeah. Well, you're also not just a bowling alley. You've got party rooms. You've got the ninja course down there. So you've got an interesting cross section that you can offer.
It's free for everybody in the room today. The ninja course, by the way.
Awesome. Running shoes.
That's right. You're gonna give me $5 for that promo there here in a minute.
I need to be able to walk tomorrow. I'm probably.
We can play laser tag. That's a good team builder.
Yeah.
So we have a social media presence. So one of our younger members, she's gotten completely in charge of social media. So Facebook, and I think she's starting now on Instagram shortly. We're promoting our events, through Facebook. She's created a whole plan to promote our event and feature our art organizations once a week on Facebook. So I've asked her to do, kind of a larger plan for the entire club. So she's starting to put that together. So hopefully that'll help the draw. We did get at least one member through Facebook when we posted our new signs leading into Solon. We had a 7-year battle with the city to get signage put up, and somebody saw it on Facebook and said,
Yep.
"Oh, that was Marina."
Yeah, media is critical. One of the things that we can do, again, I started kind of a cluster Facebook page, so we could try to, if you got flyers, you want to send things that email is just awkward, we can do that, but we should like each other's Facebook pages. That's kind of a free extra broadcast to within it. So if I could ask everyone to send me an email with your Facebook page, I'll share that back to the cluster, and let's make that a goal to, again, just help cross-promote each other.
That's great. Get all the club members, just put it out to the club.
Yeah,
get
but
everybody
it
to-
takes 2 minutes to say, yes, I like this page, and boom, suddenly Facebook says, wow, you got an extra 50 likes out there. So it will help share that information, and again, who knows where somebody in our club or a relative, friend of theirs who's looking at our page sees your announcement come up and say, oh, gee, well, my cousin is in Solon, he wants to join the Solon club. I'm looking for a club to join. So let's make that a goal for the next couple of months to get everybody at least liking and cross-liking. Sound good?
Sounds good. Hey, Chris, I was going northbound on 91 the other day, making a left-hand turn at Miles Road, and I was actually going to our meeting, and I noticed a sign that said.
So
That's
it was one
new?
too. Yeah, within the past half year, I think they put that up in the spring.
And how much
So-
do those cost?
Oh, they were the cost of the signs themselves was minimal. I think they were $90 each, maybe. They weren't bad at all. And it's high visibility, reflective. It was to the city's specification. Because if you notice, they're actually on the city's signpost.
Yeah.
So welcome to Solon on one side, then the Rotary on the other.
Yeah.
And we worked with the city obviously to do that, and they made the brackets for us and everything. But we had a local manufacturer make up the signs.
It took almost no time to get it done. Too.
Oh yeah, they were done within weeks. Well, the actual manufacturer of the sign was a couple of weeks. To actually get the city to agree to that was 7 years.
7 years.
Because initially, I think when we approached the city, they felt, oh well, if we do it for Rotary, we'll have to do it for Kiwanis and Lions and all that. And then all of a sudden, they had like this huge brick structure with everybody's signs on it. And then it died in council, and it died for a couple of years. And we revisit it every once in a while. And then finally, we had a big push, and we said, listen, nobody else is asking for it. Just let us do it. And if you get interest from the other groups, then handle it as it comes.
The outgoing mayor rubber stamped it as the only way we got a sign.
Yeah, probably, yeah.
We, as a charter member, Rob and I, one of the first things we did was go meet with the director of planning and say, we need, we're starting a Rotary Club, we need signage. And we had 35 members at that time, when we started out, so.
Yeah.
In completing that loop, I'm going to put on my club's hat. Our membership has been pretty flat, pretty steady. We get 2 or 3 or 4 new inductees. We lose a couple of people here. We just had one member transfer out of our club. It turns out Friday lunchtimes, as his wife is retired, is not a good time for them. So they've moved to the Chagrin Valley Club, which is a Tuesday morning, and so there's some ebb and flow. So we're, again, looking for new ways to keep growing membership and to attract younger members especially. We're finding a lot of our older members are bringing their older retired friends in, and it just kind of perpetuates the cycle. So in addition to age variation, we're also looking for more women, for more minorities to, again, just help penetrate the club a little bit more. And it opens us up to a whole new venue of members. Plus, one of our newer members is helping us with some of the social media. She's one of the vice president head of marketing for Buffalo Wild Wings right on Harvard Road. And she's opening up, again, kind of a little conduit there. They've helped us with a couple of fundraiser projects that are contributing to. And I just recently found out through some news, and she said, well, yeah, it's still kind of on the QT, but Buffalo Wild Wings is in the process of finalizing a national sports betting opportunity within there. That's because they've got TV screens everywhere. They're showing most of the events, and so they're rolling out that kind of a program. So you may find a lot more going on in Buffalo Wild Wings than just food. So.
Wow.
We got about 7 minutes left for the 10 o'clock. Again, we can go on a little further, but respecting that time. 2 quick questions. We need to look forward to a date. We still feel quarterly is working well for us, or do we want to go to monthly, bi-monthly? A lot of the other districts, they say, well, gee, we're going to meet it at your club this week or next. I know we've got problems because both Bedford and Nordonia meet at exactly the same time. A few miles apart, unless you can beam me up, Scotty, and duplicate me, it's tough. And we've got Solon in the morning time. And so quarterly seems to work for our group. Does that make sense?
Yep.
Sure.
Do we want to take a look at calendar-wise? It would be just before the holidays, if I'm not correct, August, September, October, November. So shortly before Thanksgiving could be both good or bad.
Just don't do it on November 10th. That's Pets 1. And I'm in charge of that.
Okay.
I
So,
have a vested interest in that.
so November 10th could be a good day for not having a meeting then. Is anybody, again, I don't know how far your calendars are out, but you want to look at the 17th is like right before Thanksgiving week. Maybe November 3rd. Any thoughts? Good target?
Third's not good for me.
Okay.
The 17th would work. It's my birthday that day, so I'll bring the donuts.
Happy birthday. So,
17th sounds all right.
17th?
Yeah.
Okay.
Same place, right here?
Unless anybody else wants to talk about traveling a shorter distance, we could host it differently. I mean, last time we talked about this seems to be pretty central and easy to get to, especially on a Saturday morning.
Is that okay with you?
Yeah.
All good.
Not
And-
that's okay for the.
9 o'clock for November?
Yeah, you should be okay in November. Just, yeah, just remind,
Yeah.
we didn't schedule my event planner. Because I don't schedule stuff, I don't do that.
Oh, and I know.
Yeah, so I mean.
Oh, all right, so yeah.
I have people that do that, so
Yeah.
that's why I screw up everything like that.
No, that's okay. Yeah, just let us know who to reach out to.
Yeah, just, okay.
Okay. So, and Diana, did you say you wanted to bring?
I'll bring the donuts.
Okay. Yeah.
Penciled in already, yeah.
We'll probably be in the other
With little
room.
candles?
Down the other way in November, it'll be quieter. This is gonna be active bowling in November here.
That could definitely be a noise distraction.
Yeah.
How about anything else? I mean, we didn't go in depth in a lot of stuff, but I think we covered a lot too.
A couple of things if I can intrude. The Pets 1 is November the 10th. There's a planning meeting. We actually have a committee and a steering committee set for that. Our next meeting is August 21. So if you've got ideas, issues, questions about pets, send them to me so I can get it into the system. The committee's in pretty good shape, but what would be really great is to have like an immediate past president who has some thoughts about Pets 1 that might join the committee rather than having, DGEs and DGENs and folks who are far removed from it. I tossed that one out there. And we really need to have president-elects in place by then. Because that's when that whole training sequence starts then. There's Pets 1, Pets 2 after the first of the year, all Ohio Pets. And Bruce has all of that listed on here, and I thank him for that. So a real big plug for that. You've also got the fundraisers for the Browns. There's a fourth one, and I don't remember the date for that. That's a blast, okay? But it's a day-long thing. You get up to Cleveland around 8:30 or 9 in the morning at a designated location. They put you on a bus, take you over to the stadium. You go through their security and what have you, which is an interesting process. Then they train you, that it's not very hard. I did it. At my age, they gave me this machine.
I did it.
You're selling raffle tickets. It's a 50-50 deal. And the district gets, it's shoes and clothes for kids as the primary charity, and it's a Cuyahoga County-wide charity. So if you're Cuyahoga Southeast, you're in it. And they're the only charity around that I know of, or at least they advertise themselves this way, that actually buys new shoes and new clothes for the kids in need rather than used stuff. Not that used stuff won't work. So if you can help with that, you sell raffle tickets for 3 quarters. Then the 4th quarter, you get free pizza and you watch the game. And in the 3/4 you're selling tickets, you will get to meet some really interesting people. And you will also find out what real beer drinkers are.
Plus the opportunity to find new potential recruits.
Yes, yeah.
I think I'd be uncomfortable in that environment.
So I would plug that one as well. I'm done, Bruce. Thank you for
Okay.
the time.
And again, in the PDF I emailed, these are live links, so, but it's all also on the district website.
Anybody heard anything about the shoebox project?
Yeah, there's Jack Young's health has prohibited him from doing
I think
that.
Rocky River was
I
taking
think
it
that's
over?
right, they've picked it up, and Stu Buchanan is working on that, so if you have questions,
Yeah, because we
reach
haven't
out.
heard anything. We made a commitment, but we haven't heard
Reach
anything.
out to Stu, and he will be able to help you with that. That's a good question.
Yeah, and with any of those kinds of things, if between meetings or you don't know who to call, drop me a line and I'll try to help act as a clearinghouse for some of those. Again, whether it's, how do you create a new membership flyer or use Club Runner to have some active distribution lists.
Some of the
If I
folks
don't know
who
it, I'll do my
browse
best to
won't be
find
here.
it out. That's all I can say there. So.
We actually put together,
Nice.
following what Chris had sent me from Solon, we put together
Okay.
a new flyer for our.
Oh, good, yeah, the trifold?
Yeah.
Yeah, there's pictures from the grounds.
We did do a new membership flyer.
Good.
It's
Yeah.
not completed yet, but.
Yeah, we need to refresh
that
ours a little
helped.
bit, yeah.
These are some of the interesting people.
Yeah,
that you'll
that's
meet.
one of the more interesting guys I've met, but not the only one.
You buy a ticket?
Yes, he did.
I did,
That's how he
yes.
got his picture in my gallery.
Again, I want to thank everybody for their time and their efforts. I wish you
Thanks
a
for
lot
organizing.
of
Joining us,
continuing
John.
luck with this year. And again, it's great here, but underlying the pets type training, we've got to start planning already to help keep the club be successful by getting the president-elects identified, nominated. Oh, speaking of officers, have you done anything about formal induction? I think you were.
Actually, I forgot to tell you, we're doing something this Thursday.
This
Just here,
Thursday?
just as a happy hour, so it'll probably be, someone informal.
Okay.
But, yeah, if you're available, I'd love to have you join us. I'm sorry I didn't tell you, just it slipped my mind. This is one of those things that was kind of in flux for a while, because we were also gonna do new member inductions. Unfortunately, our three new members aren't getting back to us as to whether they're available or not, so.
Okay.
We'll
Well,
see.
one of the things that I've been challenged with, reminded here, is that as a district representative, I should be coming prepared. Any meeting I drop in at, and I will do that on occasion, I should be prepared with my officer induction, my new member induction, in case you want to press upon me. I know Bedford was the first meeting I ever attended as an AG, and they had no speaker for the day. Well, guess who got to be the speaker for the day? So that's one of my other duties as assigned. So I will double check my calendar on Thursday and see if I'm available.
5:30 here, so
to
we'll
help
be
with
right here
that.
at the Plum Center.
Okay. And thanks for the advance notice.
Yeah, sorry.
That's a true sign of how well your year is going, right?
Oh, yeah, like when you keep
well,
track of the
we
calendar.
should have planned that maybe a little better, but those are good. Those are good.
Well, since my president's not here, because his grandchildren were more important, I'm gonna volunteer him. He's assistant fire chief, and he writes
right.
grants
Okay.
in his position. So he wrote a grant for us for a beautification project.
Oh, good, okay.
So I'm gonna volunteer him to help anybody who needs help writing a grant.
Well, thank you.
Oh.
Good.
Yes.
We've done ours for this year, so I think we're in pretty good
I thought
shape.
Gabby was the president.
Outgoing.
Oh, she's outgoing,
Yeah.
okay.
Yeah.
She's
done.
done.
Steve
Forget
and,
her.
Steve
you have
and Shannon.
you have co-presidents this year, right?
Yeah.
Steve and, what's it, Shannon?
Shannon Collins.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah. And I know I saw Shannon in Columbus at the All
Steve was
Ohio
there as
Pets.
well.
Yes, so like she was kind of a year ahead, but it would really be good for her to,
Well, they're gonna do this year and next year.
right.
And then we have a president-elect, as long as they don't quit, lined up for the following year.
Thanks, Glenn.
So,
Yes.
Take one or two and pass it down.
Yeah, and I was hoping that Tom Ditto, our club's president-elect, was gonna be able to be here this morning, but he too had other things that prevented him from doing this. So we'll be meeting the new president-elects as part of this way to help get them up to speed and make the transition go smoothly.
So Mr. will be, going
Excellent.
forward, Mr. will be joining us as well, so.
So, yeah.
Great guy, you like Mr. He's
Get
he's
October
really energetic,
17th.
He's a lot of fun.
Yeah, get October
No,
17th on his list.
I don't know.
Yeah,
Or-
certainly up to
I
you.
might be here.
Love to have you continue.
Okay, good. Anything else?
So these are the flyers for our run. Thank you, Glenn, for printing these out. And I'll send soft copies to everybody.
So it's starting here?
It's actually going to start at our rec center.
Okay.
Which is about
Sure.
a mile and a half or so away. So the run's going to be there, and then we're all coming back here for the party. So, and when you register, you can register for the run only, you can register for the bowling event only, or you can register for both at a discounted rate. It's going to be a great day.
And
It's a lot
at
of
the
fun.
end of the run, if you participate in the run, you'll get a free $5 game card, maybe $10 game card, a bratwurst, and a beer if you come back
Yeah,
here.
when we come back here,
So that's how we're kind of like starting the party here.
If you're a fellow Rotarian, can you get 2 beers?
Maybe.
I'm sure we can work something out.
For an extra $5,
Yeah, we can work
yeah.
something out.
We'll see how your attitude is that day.
We're already close to $10,000 in sponsorships.
Wow.
So sponsorships have been going pretty
Wow.
well. Ticket sales, we're pushing the ticket sales, so,
We're at 12,000 sponsorships already, so.
12? Oh, even better, okay.
Good. John, any final comments?
Only that, remember, we all in the district have a brand new Rotary Club, officially as of last night about 8 o'clock.
Is that green or
That's
something?
green, that's exactly what it is. Southern Summit County, 2 minutes off of I-77 at Route 241. They had they had not only their 20 charter members, but I think they're up to 22 or 23 members. Very interesting club. They started their service projects. They work with, I think it may be Habitat for Humanity or a food bank. And they're one of those where one meeting a month is a service project. So at that meeting, and it must be a food bank because they sort various kinds of food and what have you. A very demographically young club. I don't think any of the officers are over 40 or 42.
Wow.
And it's the president-elect, all but one of the officers are women, which probably bodes well for that club. They have the mayor of the city, I believe the president of the school board is on that club. They have a long-term project of not just a safety town, but a safety city. That's going to be built as a permanent facility on Green City Schools property. I mean, they're launched. I know it's a poke from up here, but if you want to catch an interesting meeting, that might be fun. I've said too much. I'm done.
Okay. Again, thank you for dropping in, joining
Delighted to be
us.
here.
And
Try to come back.
Excellent, yeah.
thank you for the donuts, Mike.
Thank you.
Yeah, thank you, that's awesome.
Take care.
Okay.
Yeah, that's good to meet you, yes, Hopefully see you guys for the run.
Yeah, I actually don't have that safe.